Experience the epic series that the world is watching and raving about. Catch up or relive the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones, now on HBO On Demand, and watch back-to-back episodes anytime on your schedule. This year, join the Legion of Followers and enjoy past seasons of Game of Thrones, plus the premiere of Season 4 on April 6th on HBO. Don't miss out. Sign up for HBO and get free access to HBO On Demand.
F&M Senator John Bostwick granted bail after being charged with ammunition possession. An accused murderer and armed robber among 3 people murdered over the weekend. The first of 9 new Defense Force vessels arrive in the Bahamas. Plus, is the U.S. spying on Bahamians' phone calls? We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Monique Toot, and NV12 starts now. Topping news tonight, Free National Movement Senator John Bostwick has been granted bail and will report to Central Police Station once a week after pleading not guilty to an ammunition possession charge. Bostwick, who was represented by his father, J. Henry Bostwick, QC, read the Bible in the magistrate's court this afternoon before his arraignment and used his suit jacket to conceal his handcuffs. Bostwick's mother, former Attorney General Janet Bostwick, and F&M Chairman Darren Cash were present at the magistrate's court as the F&M senator was brought in a 3-piece suit. However, as police officers escorted him inside the magistrate's court complex, the attorney was allowed to conceal his cuffed hands with his suit jacket. He appeared before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt and was charged with possession of ammunition. He pleaded not guilty. According to the court docket, Bostwick was found in Grand Bahama over the weekend with 10 live rounds of .22 ammunition, even though he is not the holder of a firearm certificate enforced at this time. According to police, the 42-year-old was found with ammunition in the domestic section of Grand Bahama International Airport after he presented himself and his bag to security for a security check around 7:20 p.m. on Saturday. The baggage X-ray machine showed the ammunition during a scan of Bostwick's travel bag. Bostwick, an attorney and partner at Bostwick & Bostwick, was returning to Nassau at the time of his arrest and was reportedly traveling alone. Prosecution did not object to bail, and he was granted bail in the amount of $9,000 with one surety. The George Street resident has been ordered to report to Central Police Station every Monday on or before 6 p.m. Though he was arrested on Grand Bahama, both sides agreed the matter would be heard on New Providence, despite concerns raised by the Chief Magistrate over how it would impact the public purse. During that time, 10 witnesses will be flown to New Providence to testify. Bostwick will return to court on May 27th at 10 a.m. for a fixture hearing. In other court news, a 23-year-old man has been charged in connection with this month's murder in Mason's Addition. Kirkwood Roll, seen here in the long-sleeved green shirt, was charged with the May 7th murder of 20-year-old Clarence Newry Coakley. According to police reports, Coakley was sitting behind a home on Saxon's Way, Mason's Addition around 9:30 p.m. when a gunman shot him in the head. The dead Cat Alley resident was pronounced dead on the scene. Roll's attorney Darren Roll told Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt that his client was forced to sign an identification certificate. Roll was not required to enter a plea and was remanded to Her Majesty's prisons. Ferguson Pratt told him he has the right to apply to the Supreme Court for bail, but her court does not have the jurisdiction to do so. This matter will proceed by way of voluntary bill of indictment. Roll will return to court in August. A man who was shot and killed on Friday night was charged with the murder of a 63-year-old taxi driver back in 2008 and in 2012, along with another man in connection with a series of armed robberies. Outside Princess Margaret Hospital's morgue this morning, grieving relatives identified the murder victim as 33-year-old Romeo Lyons. He was one of 3 people murdered over the weekend.
We have 5 boys. This one, this is the victim.
Not your brother, the children.
The children, there's the victim of this. No father, no more. We're going to fight for them. The stress can be on us.
Standing outside Princess Margaret Hospital's Rand Lab this morning, Shan Joseph told NB12 her brother Romeo Lyons wasn't the only victim of Friday's shooting incident. She says the real victims are the 5 children he left behind. According to police, Lyons was inside King's Bar on Washington Street and Robinson Road on Friday night around 11 p.m. when a man walked inside the bar and shot him. He was taken to hospital where he died, becoming the 46th murder victim for 2014. In 2008, Lyons was charged with the murder of Subway customer 63-year-old Hubert Winters, who was shot dead during an attempted armed robbery at Subway's Madeira Street location. Then, in July 2012, Lyons and another man were charged with 9 separate house break-ins where more than $17,000 in cash, jewelry, and electronics were stolen. His sister Shan and his brother-in-law Reginald Joseph admit he had a troubled past.
He's a helping person. Though he have his way with trouble, he's self-up.
He's a good person to me. I don't know about anybody else. You know, we never had no row, we never had no differences. I love the family love me.
He had a couple problems with the law. He didn't deserve that.
Lyons' sister says his eldest son, 12-year-old Romeo Lyons Jr., took the news of his father's death the hardest.
The game he buy me, he chain and stuff, and he tennis, and the tennis he buy me.
And what will you remember about him? What did you love most about your father?
He's a lover.
His mother-in-law, Reva Clear, wept uncontrollably this morning, noting her 1-year-old grandchild will never know his father.
He was loving to us, very loving. He loved me.
How long were he and your daughter together?
3 years. You know what he did? He had to turn the ST in, and I had a spare. And I said, Romeo, come for the spare. He said, Mom, but you won't have a tire. That spare on my car now, that cost him $107. He didn't mind.
A recently released article claims the United States National Security Agency has been listening in on thousands of cellular conversations in the Bahamas, some dating back to 2012. According to an article titled Data Pirates of the Caribbean, the NSA is recording every cell phone call in the Bahamas. The documents were released by NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. The documents, obtained by the Nassau Guardian, describe a program known as Mystic that was allegedly designed to embed collection systems installed on target networks, mainly for the collection and processing of wireless and mobile communications networks. That system reportedly has the capability to process millions of cellular phone calls and store snippets or conversations in their entirety for up to 1 month. The Washington Post explored the program back in March 2014, but at the request of U.S. government officials, the Post withheld details that could be used to identify the country where the system is being employed. State Minister for National Security Keith Bell declined to comment on the allegations. Queries placed to the United States Embassy in Nassau were not answered up to news time. $15 million well spent. That's how Defense Force and national security officials describe the first of 9 new vessels to arrive in Nassau Harbor. The HMBS Arthur Dion Hannah arrived today ahead of schedule and has so far met the expectations of Defense Force officials. Christina McNeil reports.
The €11 million HMBS Arthur Dion Hannah arrived in the capital this morning, the first in a fleet of vessels expected to improve the Royal Bahamas Defense Force's border protection capabilities. In particular, National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage says this fleet of vessels is expected to enhance the Defense Force's abilities to cut back on illegal migration, gun and drug smuggling.
We have to be able to defend our borders and protect the integrity of our country. As you know, illegal immigration is probably the biggest problem that we have in terms of border invasion, but there are drugs always going through. We are satisfied that there are guns that go through. We are satisfied that there's human smuggling, there's trafficking in persons. All of those issues will be significantly enhanced, or the fight against them will be significantly enhanced by the acquisition of this fleet.
The HMBS Arthur Dion Hannah is the first of 9 vessels commissioned by the RBDF to bulk up the force's current fleet. Officers say the vessel's capabilities allow for more efficient patrols and use of manpower.
It's a 42-meter vessel that has an effective operational range of about 2,500 miles. We pretty much sailed from the Azores to the Bahamas without refueling. So it lends to being able to do our job and be out for a longer period without having to come back and refuel. It speaks volume to the government's commitment to not only the organization, but it speaks to the commitment to the Bahamian people.
Government borrowed $232 million to purchase the vessels and carry out ancillary civil work. Officials say the following vessels will nicely complement the fleet and provide additional support.
The second vessel of this type is actually scheduled to commence her official sea trials tomorrow, and she should be expected in country very near or around Independence this year. The third vessel will be following 2 months after that. So basically it's a 2-month period between the acceptance of the first 3 vessels of this year. And next year, the last of this class will come around April.
The last boat to be produced, the Roro, is going to be of inestimable value to us in terms of assisting aid, for example, in the case of hurricanes and so forth, or disasters of any kind.
Nottage expects that the latest additions to the fleet will significantly reduce illegal poaching and the smuggling of guns, drugs, and people in the Bahamas. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.